I'm actually going to die if I'm not careful here. Well, hello again, all you absolutely magnificent people, and welcome back to another episode of An Ecologist Plays. We talk about nature while playing games. My name is Will, I'm an ecologist by training, and this is Enshrouded. We are back in the world of Embervale, and we have a wonderful episode lined up for you. Now, first of all, what we are going to do is we are going to take this bow over here, Banebringer, and we are going to upgrade it because, well, this is quite a nice little one, I think, to actually carry with us for the Nomad Highlands. So we're just going to take it and upgrade it a wee little bit, all the way up to level 23, but we do need a gem to actually insert into that gem slot over there. So for that, I've got a specific one in mind, one that is a sure drop at a little settlement called Hillock. And Hillock is just to the north of this Low Meadows Ancient Spire. It is located right over there. So let's head on over to the Ancient Spire, and then we'll travel over to Hillock. Alright, and right down here we have the town of Hillock. And we are looking for a particular enemy. We are looking for the local berserker. The guy with the acid cleave weapon. That is the one we are looking for. Apparently the gem is a guaranteed drop with him. Oh, we have collected some Crimson Valor. Oh, hello there. Speaking of which, hello. No. No and no. And again, no. Oh, hello, everybody else. Hello. Alright, so let's just grab, there we go, the Gem of Puncturing. Now this gem over here, when you actually deal piercing damage, which we are going to do with our bow, it applies puncturing to enemies as well, which means that they receive 7 bonus pierce damage from any pierce damage source for 3.4 seconds. So, let us grab our level 5 Archaic Essences here. We do actually need, I guess, a little bit more of the level 13 as well. And we'll head back to that ancient spire, because there is a gem forge right over there, just to the north. And here we go, I do believe this is the gem forge. And if memory serves me right, there are 2 unsavory characters in here, 2 of the Fell, and now there are none. So the gem of puncturing goes on to Banebringer over here, and we're just going to upgrade it a bit. And of course, we are going to just make this our main bow. Now before we head off, we're just going to upgrade our skills here. We're going to grab multi-shot. This is going to be very, very useful to use, because it does mean that we have a 20% chance, so 1 in every 5 shots, we've got a chance to actually get an extra arrow, or extra arrows actually. We're also going to grab multi-shot spread, which has a 25% chance to spawn another one. So we're going to have a chance to actually just do much more damage in a short amount of time. And you know what, I think with that we are ready to head on out. And I think we're heading to Rattlebleak first. Yeah, I think that is where we are going to head. And that is so we can investigate Ikora's whereabouts, because she was a very powerful magic user that may have had a nice cauldron, black cauldron, that the alchemist would like to use. So we are going to just head on over to where she was last seen, which is of course the town of Rattlebleak. Now we had been here before and we had read some of Ikora's writing, but we're just going to investigate a little bit more. Now we do have some Fell that are around here. Oh, that was a nice one. That was actually a double shot. And now with these Fell, we are getting shroud particles, which are very, very nice. We do need those, so it will be great if we could perhaps just encounter a few more Fell. We do have something interesting tumbling past here. This is tumbleweed. Now on Earth, we've got Russian tumbleweed, which is a very, very popular thing to see in your Western movies and all kinds of desert scenes. You always have this tumbleweed tumbling around. This one is moving very, very slowly. There was another one that rolled around here much quicker. It's right over here. Now, tumbleweed doesn't actually occur naturally in America or in South Africa, where I am, where we also have a lot of tumbleweed. It comes from Russia. At least the Russian tumbleweed, Salsula kali, comes from Russia, of course. I mean, it's in the name there. And it occurs in the drier regions. And it's a perfect plant for desert environments because, first of all, it is a very, very spiny plant, meaning that very few things want to eat it. So it doesn't really have to worry about herbivory too much. But it also is an annual or very, very, very short-lived plant. It's a typical weedy plant. It loves disturbance and it can survive on relatively little rainfall. So when it does rain in the desert or drier areas, these plants germinate in mass. And a lot of them will survive. They have got very, very rapid growth rates, and then as a result they set flowers and then seeds very, very quickly. But the true magic comes after they have flowered and after the seeds are ready to be dispersed, because then the plant shrivels up, it dies, and it breaks off at the base. And then, even if there is just the slightest breeze, this dry tumble will tumble all over the place. And as it tumbles, seeds will tumble out of it as well. And that is how tumbleweed will disperse from one area to another. We can actually play a bit of football here, it seems, with the tumbleweeds here, by just kicking them around all over the place. Unfortunately, it does mean we are dispersing a lot of tumbleweed seeds, which may not be the best things. I know in the US, they are really, really problematic. They have the ability to even bring highways to a standstill. And of course, if you have such a lot of dry tinder, well, that's a real risk for bushfires as well. And if one does ignite and then tumbles, you can imagine the problem with a burning tumbleweed spreading seeds and chaos as far as it tumbles. Anyway, here we are. We are here in Rattlebleak, and there we go. Finally, we have another one of these fell, and I do believe, yes, the saber-toothed cat will attack him. If we just, there we go, we just need to stand out of the way and the saber-toothed cat will finish it off. Good kitty. Now there is something to read in here, I do believe. Yeah, indeed there is. And Ikora here basically says, I cried out, the void answered. The moor was famished as it called my name, lonely, yearning, like me. I had no choice and it knew. Caught between teeth, sharp as razor blades, my sides cut and split apart. I slipped under its tongue, spinning, suffocating in its warmth. It holds me inside. We are the same. We are one. Why is my flesh hollow? A pit. I am a pit, empty, starved. I am nothingness, the absence, the void, the few, the many, the all, the abyss itself. So obviously, Ikora called out to the void, and the void answered. Not something you want. You don't want the void answering back as you call out to it. Nonetheless, it happened, and now I do believe Ikora is one with the void, which is not I think, a great thing to be. Ikora also mentioned, I think this was just before she actually got engulfed by the void. I've gone mad. I know it. The years of solitude have made my mind brittle. The void, the more. Inside the black cauldron, lingering, waiting, spinning, clouding my mind with its sweet foul smell. It calls me, whispering. I don't understand what it says, but it knows. It knows I'm empty. It's empty too, hungry. We are alike. And so the corruption started, I guess. And all the while here you can see all these villagers turned to fell statues. There we go, another fell finally spawned. Now, there we go, the kitty sorted that one out again. I just wanted to get out of the way to let the kitty do its work. I love the kitties. Now we're just going to head on out of Rattlebleak here, following the road right over here, and of course the trail of fell statues as we do so. And here we go, here are some more fell statues. Just going to see if any fell spawn from them. There we go, there's one. I'm just going to, set it on fire. And shoot it in the face as well. Ooh, and another one over there. I love multi-shot. Ah, here we go. Some more shroud over here. So I suspect Ikora came this way. Of course, now we start... Oh, hello there. Finally, the Stalker, which we encountered previously, but didn't finish fighting. Hello there. Oh. Naughty. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to have to dodge out of the way if I can. But I probably won't make it. There we go. Just want to get it out into the open so I can actually have a fighting chance. Hello there. Are you going to launch at me? Yes, you are. And I'm just going to shoot at you in between your launches. Ooh, and it got me. Aha, miss. That was a double shot. Love it. And should be launching at me again soon. Let's see if we can actually get it to do the tentacle hit. There we go. That was a tentacle hit. So once you are close to it, it will do the tentacle hit. And if you are far away, it launches at you with its very, very, very aerodynamic body. And there we go. It is finally dead. We have finally killed our first Stalker. There we go. Shroud Stalker shells we get for our efforts there. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Alright. Now last time, of course, when I did fight it, I got lost in the shroud there and died before I could actually kill that Stalker. And we also have critters. Are you guys going to give me the glands? Finally, please, give me the critter glands. Yes, indeed, critter glands. So this is very interesting. I do suspect that these critter glands we are getting from these critters in the Nomad Highlands, I suspect these are glands that will help them communicate with one another. So pheromone glands in essence. And they will most likely be wafting a whole bunch of pheromones from them to actually get other individuals in their colony to be aggressive or to start attacking whatever they want to attack. And we're just going to use explosive arrows on those nests there. So most likely, as the colony is under attack, these critters will then secrete a specific compound, which will then get all the other individuals to swarm to where that pheromone is secreted. Similar to bees, for example, which will secrete a pheromone when they are under attack, and all the other bees will then also come to where that bee was attacked. And in the end, it is for the good of the colony. Yes, you may die. As an individual bee or critter, you may die, but the colony persists. And isn't that what it is all about in the end? Right, back into the shroud we head. Now this is a very, very dense fog here. It does not bode well for us, so let's see what we can find over here. There's a big crater here. Some kind of massive explosion most likely happened. Oh, there we go. Oh, hello. There we go. There is the Fell Monstrosity. So we're just going to shoot it. Let's see, does the explosive arrows do anything? Not really. A bit. We will just need to get out of the way of the shroud attack there. And is that... Oh, those are shroud meteors, I guess. Yeah, very similar to the Wisp Wyvern's attack. What it does do is it results in an area... Whoa, there we go. We accidentally summoned another guy. It does result in an area with increased shroud. And that is not great, because that means our shroud... Oh, there we go, another one. Because that means our shroud timer goes down more rapidly. I'm actually going to die if I'm not careful here. Finally, got that one down. But there should be another fell after us. And of course, the monstrosity is also still after us. It's somewhere, I'm not sure where. Oh, right over there. So this cloud of shroud that it is creating. Oh, and a swarm as well. Interesting. Okay, a shroud of little insects that it also summoned to its cause. But anyway, this cloud that it is creating of the increased shroud, that is basically a chemical defense in aerosol form. So a way for it to actually prevent us from getting too close to it. Think of it like a skunk, for example. Okay, I think I destroyed the insects there. Think of it like a skunk, in this case, producing a massive fart cloud. Oof, yeah, we are in danger here. As we've got another fell... well, that is dead now, so that's perfect. But the monstrosity is still after us. But there it is. But there we go, creating another area of basically hazardous terrain for us that we've got to try and avoid if we can. Oh, there we go, another little bugs here being summoned. Thankfully, a wand even takes care of them. And the monstrosity is almost dead. Now, interesting, it does seem as though the monstrosity here really incorporated a whole bunch of individuals, at least Ikora. And you may wonder, well, are there any animals that actually do that, that take their prey and incorporate it into their bodies? And the short answer is yes and no, not really. Nothing to the extent that they are now part of the creature's movement. I mean, you can see here that if we get close to the monstrosity, you can see arms and legs and all kinds of limbs there, which were the victims of that monstrosity over there. But nothing really, on Earth at least, will be incorporated into the body of another individual to that extent. Now, doesn't mean that it doesn't happen at all, or doesn't happen to some extent. If you look, for example, at lacewings, their larvae will take the aphids or whatever they eat, and they will take the exoskeletons of the prey after they have sucked them dry, and they will actually put that on their back as a way to protect themselves against things like ants, which may attack them as they try to eat the aphids. So as a nice little fluffy shield, they actually carry... There we go, and we have destroyed the monstrosity. They carry the exoskeletons, they carry the remains of the old prey on their back. Okay, so to some extent, lacewing larvae will incorporate their victims in their body. But not to this extent. Now, another example of something that does do this to some extent, where it does actually become part of their body. There are some amoebae which will engulf smaller organisms, and then technically they do become part of their body. But again, not to this extent. It doesn't function the way it does here. But there are some nudibranchs, some sea slugs, and we're just going to grab everything we can here. There we go. There are some sea slugs, some nudibranchs, which will feed on... Oh, and we've got tin here. Just going to mark that on the map. But they will feed on algae. And in the process of feeding on the algae, they of course ingest the chloroplasts, which the algae also have in their cells. And the chloroplasts, they're of course responsible for photosynthesis. Now, normally, if a cow, for example, eats grass, the chloroplasts, they are also just kind of broken apart in the process of digestion. Not so with these nudibranchs, where the chloroplasts actually remain intact, and they are kept intact and then move to the outside of the body of the nudibranchs. And there, the chloroplasts can continue photosynthesizing. They become part of the nudibranch's body. And in the process then, they keep their function, they keep on photosynthesizing, and similar to the arms and legs and all the body parts in the Fell Monstrosity there, well, they function. They are part of the body of that nudibranch. So, no, we don't have anything on Earth to the extreme of the Fell Monstrosity, but we do have some amazing creatures on Earth which do, to some extent, incorporate their prey into their body after they have ingested them, which I think is pretty cool. Now, yes, we do have the tin we can mine here, and that is absolutely marvelous. However, there is another tin mine we can actually go and find, and it will have far more tin for us to mine. So let us head there. But first, we're going to drop off some stuff by Spelunca Domus, our cave house. Of course, now that we do have the Black Cauldron, we can also get to work crafting the alchemy station here, and that is exactly what we are going to do. So let us just plop it down here for now. And now we can finally start smelting tin bars, and after that, bronze bars. Oh, we'll talk about that in a moment. For now though, we're just going to fast travel to the ancient spire in the Nomad Highlands, and then from there just make our way to the west, because there is the mining rift right over there. Why are the kitties after me? I did not attack you guys. Okay, I don't know why the kitties are after me. They apparently forgot that I am friendly. I definitely did not attack any of them. Suddenly they just don't like me anymore. Are you guys also like that? Why does it look like that? Oh! Why am I under attack? No! Kitties are naughty. Okay. I guess the game forgot that that they're supposed to be friendly, and everybody is attacking me. So I'm just going to keep on running. Hopefully they leave me alone soon. This is now the second episode in a row that I'm attacked by the kitties. You know, last time at least I deserved it. This time around, no. Humbug. Now again, you may notice here with the limestone, lots and lots of caverns all over the place. So it's actually quite interesting to navigate through here, because you've got all these little weird crevices and tunnels that you can actually move through. And I do suspect it also has resulted in quite a few sinkholes in the Nomad Highlands, as mining commenced here, either for tin or for copper or for the elixir wells that were dug. I do suspect quite a few sinkholes formed. Oh, there's a kitty here. Hopefully the kitty is friendly, though I do doubt it. Oh, and there does appear to be some kind of tomb here. Ah, this is the Obscura Catacombs. Okay, well, we're not going to explore this now. I will possibly do this off screen, because for now we are going to go to the tin mine, which is across this mountain, it seems. It seemed as though this saber-toothed cat over here was friendly towards us, which means that the other ones simply didn't get the memo that we are friends, not food. Let's just see, though. Hello? Nope. It also didn't get the memo. Run away. Run away, run away, run away, run away. What's the point of having calm spirit if the animals don't have calm spirits? Well, there we go. I do believe this is the mining rift right up ahead here. Indeed it is. Oh, and of course, there are some fell here. So of course, we're just going to end them. There we go. But then one of the many reasons we came here, a chest with castle wall stone blocks in it. And of course the main reasons we are here, a whole bunch of critters for their critter glands, and a whole bunch of tin ore for us to also get. But there is one other thing I do want to collect from here. And that, unless I'm very much mistaken, is right up here. I'm not keen on exploding myself, but maybe this is fine. Yeah, it was fine. Because behind all those barrels, but a larger sea lily fossil. So this is a new fossil for us, and we're going to have a look at it in a bit. But first, let's mine some tin and quickly talk about tin and bronze, because tin itself is actually surprisingly soft. You can take a bar of tin and you can actually bend it. So it's not a very hard metal, yet it was amazing. Of course, after the Stone Age, it was the Copper Age, because copper was then the hardest thing that was used in tools that were being used by humans. But copper is not that strong. Yes, it is strongish. It's strong. It's quite good to use, and you can forge quite amazing weapons with it. But it is not that strong. To make it stronger, an alloy was needed. You needed to mix the copper with something. And in the case of bronze, it was mixed mostly with tin, in some cases also arsenic, although very quickly people realized that, yeah, arsenic is highly poisonous. So they stopped with the whole arsenic bronze that they were making, instead mixing tin with copper. And the mixture was usually about 7 parts copper, 1 part tin. If you had too much tin in there, it would have made it too soft. It wouldn't have been as strong as the bronze was. It was 7 parts copper, 1 part tin. But how did people realize that they could mix tin with copper to make bronze? It most likely started out as an accident, as so many things in science and humankind started. It most likely started due to impurities. With the Mediterranean region there being tin present as well as copper, it's quite possible that with copper being mined, there was also some tin that made its way into the smelting process. And in the process then, well, bronze was made. So too, arsenic could have been accidentally mixed in there, and people realized, oh, we can mix arsenic with copper to make bronze as well. Although, as mentioned, that died out pretty quickly. And then bronze was the main thing, so the Bronze Age came to be. It was used to make weapons, to make shields, to make armor, to make all kinds of beautiful artistic things, until the so-called Late Bronze Age collapse, where civilizations that were built around the use of bronze suddenly either died out or was drastically reduced and kind of returned to an almost Stone Age-like state. But what happened? Why did it collapse? The thing is, we don't know exactly what happened. There are reports of the so-called Sea People, which were apparently a whole bunch of tribes that may have started raiding the Mediterranean. Alternatively, it could have been things like climatic shifts, droughts, volcanic eruptions, plagues, a whole bunch of other catastrophes happening that started wiping out the Bronze Age people. And if you are struggling to survive, you're not going to spend as much time making artistic vases and stuff with bronze, and you're not going to waste your time making bronze, especially if your tin production was interrupted due to plagues and raids by people. You're not going to be able to make bronze. And as a result, the bronze industry kind of collapsed, and people were just trying to survive. But yeah, the Bronze Age collapse, a very interesting period we will talk about, I'm sure, again in future. For now, we're just going to quickly head on over back home to smelt some more tin. There we go, that is marvelous. We've got another 9 being produced. Now let's just have a look here. If we look at bronze, let's say we wanted to produce bronze. To produce 10 bars, we need 7 copper and 3 tin bars. So the ratio here is kind of out. It would have been 7 copper for each tin bar. But nonetheless, this is quite a good representation. You're making not as good quality bronze here, but you are making bronze. It is a mixture of copper and tin. It is a typical alloy. But let's quickly talk about this larger sea lily fossil that we have over here. So sea lilies we do still have around today, although there are only about 700 species alive today. They were much more abundant in the way past. Before the Mesozoic, so before the time of the dinosaurs, they were around. And they were super abundant in the Paleozoic up until the mid-Jurassic, more or less, when they started decreasing in diversity. But you can see here that this is a creature which has a stalk in this case, and that's what makes it a sea lily. Sea lilies are crinoids which have a stalk. Crinoids belong to the class Crinoidea, which are the sea lilies over here, and the feather stars as well. Feather stars just don't have that stalk, generally in a tube, but with the feathery appendages just sticking out of the tube. They don't have the stalk that we can see here in the sea lily. And you may not think it, but these animals here are related to sea stars and sea urchins, the other echinodermata, or the spiny skins. But they've got these feathery appendages here. So it says here that it's a large and slender sea lily reaching up towards the surface and sky. If it had any sense of perception, it'd be able to judge the rise and fall of the sea, as well as a looming change in the waters. So yeah, this was a marine creature. It's called the sea lily after all. And as you can see here, it is in a piece of limestone. And well, lots of limestone areas actually covered with disarticulated sea lily fossils. So disarticulated meaning broken apart. You can see fragments of the sea lilies in the limestone. That's how common they were. So limestone from the Paleozoic up to the Jurassic very often have got lots and lots of sea lily fossils within them. But they have got these feathery appendages, and they use that to filter out food from the water. So they are filter feeders, and they can filter out food that way. Some species are free swimming. They'll be swimming around in the ocean, and then as they swim around, they then collect food particles with their feathery appendages. But others, like the sea lily over here, were attached to rocks and then filtered out the food from the water. Now they have got their mouth and their butts all at the top there, so they filter out the food, it goes into the mouth, and then they've got a U-shaped digestive tract, and then they poop it out very close to the mouth. You know, not a great arrangement, but it worked for them, and it still works for the species that are around today. But you know what, I think that is where we are going to end today, everybody. So thank you very much for joining me on our adventure in the Nomad Highlands. Next time we are going to head into this cluster over here. We are going to grab the tanning station, hopefully. We are going to grab the blacksmith's tools over there, hopefully. And we may even take on an elixir well in the shroud over here, though close to Umber Hollow. So if you've got any questions or comments, please pop them down in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer. And until next time, stay safe, everybody. I will see you all soon. Cheers!